Is Adrian Autry's job on the line here? What do you think, Neil?
Well, first I want to just go back and read something from John Rothstein.
Go ahead.
Because he obviously is much more plugged in and all that. And so, he talks about the game against Tennessee, it's biggest yet under Adrian Autry, and Syracuse has made the tournament since 2021, blah, blah, blah. This is their best roster in years. They don't have anything to show for it. They took Houston the wire, blah, 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 blah. But then he says here, winning at home on Tuesday against the Vols in the ACC SEC Challenge, the only way the Orange are going to be able to build any type of a resume for Selection Sunday, given the state of the ACC. See, I take issue with that. And again, Rothstein knows more about college basketball than I do, so I'm not going to sit here and, whatever. But I think they'll have ample opportunities in the ACC, and we already talked about this, so I'm not going to repeat myself over and over again. But yes, it's a very important game. Is his job on the line? I don't think so. Although I'll tell you, Jackson, you bring up an issue, and obviously I don't want to talk about our coach getting fired, and I'm a Cuse alum and all that, but I want the team to win. If he's not the right guy, then that's just the way it's going to be. But if they go out there and they just get blasted at home, just embarrassed. Like that second half of the Iowa State game, they were outscored 60-30. That's bad. I mean, again, maybe they got gas, and Iowa State's a top 15 team, so like I get all that, but like, be competitive. They're competitive. They lost to Kansas by 11, but they're competitive. And again, they took Houston. But if they get blown out by the Vols and just look awful, and it's just like the boos are flying around I don't know John Wildhack. Like, I'm not saying him and I are buddy. So like, I don't know what's like going on, back here with him. He doesn't seem like the kind of guy that even if they got destroyed, that he would just be like, you're out of here like tomorrow night, but I mean, it does bring up a larger issue that, and again, there were certainly a lot of people that didn't want him to be the coach in the first place. They wanted an outsider, or they wanted GMAC or whatever. And that's in the past. And then there were people, and I think you even talked, that didn't want him to return for a third year. And that's fair game too. It's all fair game. I just don't see, even if they get blown out, like if they get blown out and then let's say in their they lose a couple more, like to, these really low, mid majors, whatever, and they just have an embarrassing non-conference. I still don't see it happening mid-year, but I feel like that could be like the final straw. Like, I feel like even if they get blown out by Tennessee, a top 15 team, that to me, I don't think will be the final straw in Wildhack's mind. But I mean, you don't know what he's hearing or who he's hearing from or what boosters are in his ear or whatever, so I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're going to say to me, there's like a 5% chance, or something, like there's a chance, but it's obviously not big. And I would say, okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's how I am. I think that it's a low percentage.
Yeah.
And it's because even if they do get blown out, I don't think Wildhack is going to do it. I think he is going to stick with Adrian Autry. And my take is that I think he's going to give him the entire year.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring this up is not just because of Adrian Autry and this season and how it's a make or break year. I also look around the nation and I wonder whether or not I look at NC State, for example. NC State, a couple years ago, went on a miracle run in the ACC tournament, and they parlayed that into a miracle run in the NCAA tournament, and they go to the Final Four. And what happened because of it? They triggered an extension for Kevin Keats, who was their head coach at the time.
And then he got booted after,
Kevin Keats was going to get fired if NC State did not make the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And they went on a miracle run in the ACC.
And so he gets an extension.
And so he got an extension. And I'm sure NC State fans are happy that they ended up going to the Final Four.
Sure.
But the reason why I bring that up is because if you are an NC State fan at the time, you knew that Kevin Keats was going to get fired. And yet the miracle happened. And it all of a sudden triggered a year in which they came back down to earth and they missed the ACC tournament altogether.
Yeah.
The reason why I bring that up is because with Adrian Autry and Syracuse, do you want to give Adrian Autry the chance at a miracle? Like, if you're Adrian Autry and Syracuse, I want Syracuse to make the tournament because they were good enough to make the tournament, not because they went on some magic carpet fairy tale ride to make it. You get what I'm saying? Do you want the miracle? you want the miracle to happen if you're a Syracuse fan, but are you sure that is in the best interest of the team long term? So that's why I bring up, if you are Syracuse and you would have to get blasted in this game against Tennessee. It's like, if you're competitive against Tennessee, this is not a conversation. But if you get blasted like you did against Iowa State, it's non-competitive. You lose a half 60-30.
Right.
Do you want to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Let's let go of Adrian Autry. Let's not give him the chance at some miracle, because we know he is not the guy. He's not the guy. We're not going to give him the chance at the magic carpet fairy tale ride. Let's promote from within. See what happens if maybe that is the spark. I think it would be Dan Engelstad. Not that he has some impressive resume either. If you go check it out, it ain't exactly good.
Well, but he was a head coach.
He was a head coach. That's why I lean more towards he would be the guy probably promoted.
Right.
I would not be super duper surprised, but I would be surprised if it was ultimately Adrian Autry's last game. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, me too. And like, I feel like if they go on a miracle run in the ACC tournament to get in, or, they just sneak in by whatever the circumstance is, getting a couple of good wins in the ACC and just being like the last team in or something, like, that'll probably give Autry another year, but I don't necessarily see Wildhack giving him like a long-term extension per se. I mean, the other thing that we don't have to get into here, but like to keep in mind, is there's going to be a new chancellor at some point of Syracuse. So I don't, I haven't heard anything definitive, and I'm not pretending to be like the world's biggest insider, but hear things sometimes. But is Wildhack going to be the AD like longer term if there's when there is a new change? I don't know. And that's like, I don't know.
Let go of John Wildhack. Let me just say this: I would not be upset.
Well, you're not the only one.
I wouldn't be upset about it at all.
He seems like a nice enough dude, but like, yeah, if you're not happy with the direction of Syracuse men's basketball, and obviously the football team struggled, and fine, okay, again, that's a larger conversation. But I just really don't see John Wildhack letting go of Adrian Autry in the middle of the season, because you're not going to bring in someone else,
right?
And like, so what is the benefit of like, and I got nothing against any of their assistant coaches, but like, are they going to do any better? Like, what's the benefit of them being the interim head coach? What does that do? It doesn't. I
guess the benefit of it would be that if you were to promote a guy like Dan Engelstad, and then Syracuse does an exceptional job with him as the head coach, and they clearly look like a different team, it's very low percentage. But if that would be the thinking, like, oh, he became the head coach and Syracuse was just like night and day a better team. And it's like, you know what? Maybe he's the
you coach. Learn something from that.
Maybe he learned something. Maybe he's actually the guy. Maybe there's a reason why we brought him in the first place for this type of scenario. I think it's low odds that it's his last game. I really do. I'm just bringing it up because it's like, if they get in as an at-large team, I'm 100% on board with Adrian Autry coming back for his fourth year. Sure. Because if you get in at large, that tells me that over the course of an entire season, your team was good enough to make the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely.
But if you get in because of some fairy tale ride, that's great. We're all going to be happy. We know Adrian Autry would get year 4, but what is there to suggest that fairy tale ride would continue into an actual season? We saw with NC State, a team that made the Final Four with a miracle run. The following year, crater and miss the ACC tournament. And it triggered a 2-year extension for their coach, who's not coaching for them anymore. So are you sure, if you're Syracuse, you want to give Adrian Autry the chance at the miracle? Or would you rather do it maybe with someone else and you just recognize that Autry isn't the guy? That's the $1 million question, which hopefully, Neil, we don't have to answer that question, because what would be very nice is that Syracuse on Tuesday night goes out, balls out, and ends up winning the game, getting an impressive victory. And instead of Adrian Autry hot seat talk, we're discussing the Syracuse basketball ceiling and how they bounce back from a really bad loss against Iowa State. Sound fair enough to everyone?
Yeah, it's a good plan. Let's do that.